we have some forgiving to do. Yay. Okay, so one of the big things about being here on this earth in this lifetime, in this body, in these bodies that we are in, doing all of the stuff that we're doing, experiencing all the junk that we're experiencing, all the heartache, all the happiness, all the joy, all the releasing, the giving and receiving, everything we're here. Whoa. I feel like this penny just showed up out of nowhere. The reason we are here existing in this time as souls in these human bodies is to learn about forgiveness. So this is really deep. Forgiveness itself is not non-existent in any plane outside of this three-dimensional physical form plane. Okay, we have ego here, therefore it is absolutely necessary. But once we leave our bodies and we're just souls, forgiveness doesn't mean anything. Forgiveness is not necessary because there's nothing to forgive, because literally only love is real. So while we're here in these bodies, that's kind of our goal, to recognize that. And oh wow, this is all so cool. All this stuff just comes through like in the weirdest ways. I mean, I study A Course in Miracles. Such a cool book. It completely called me, and I hated it the first couple pages. I was so angry, but I couldn't stop reading it. And basically what it is this is what your ego is, and this is how you're going to undo it. And it's crazy. It's been so rewarding to learn from. But I was just reading it today, and then I fell asleep, and in that sleeping state, I got so much guidance on what I was supposed to learn. Like, it took what I just learned and extended that lesson into something much more. And basically what I got from that, I heard a quote that I've heard before, that you cannot thrive if you're in survival mode. But the question is, how do you get out of survival mode and into thriving mode, thrival mode? One of those things. And the way out of survival mode is to just drop your weapons. You know, put the weapons down, drop your guard, forgive, and take a chance and let things be as they are. And then I woke up in a shock, and I was like, I have to record this. This is today's lesson. This is coming through. So that's very cool. Forgiveness is such an arbitrary thing to us. Like, we don't understand how to forgive, because we think that forgiveness means excusing the situation. It means not correcting. Like, we don't want to forgive, because in forgiving, the person's just going to feel that it's okay that they did what they did. You know, that the wrong, the error will never be corrected. And that's so frustrating. I've had to sit with this for months now. Like, I've only experienced that part of that for months. And I'm finally understanding that to get through that hump and to really understand what forgiveness is and how to do it, it's completely like individual. It's in your own way. So you can only do that through practicing it, and practice small things, like let things go. That's another thing. Okay, we'll see how this comes out, because there's just so much information that needs to get out. Practice with small things. It's all baby steps. As I always say, it's all baby steps. Forgive a small action, because that small action is just as important as a huge action. You know, if somebody cheats on you, you have to treat somebody, I don't know, taking your seat when you wanted to sit down, with the same exact, and I don't know, and maybe that does bother you as much as somebody cheating on you, which I'm sorry that's so frustrating. But it all comes from a fear of lack, all of it. From somebody cheating on you, you fear that you're not enough, you fear that you're not lovable, you fear that there's just not love for you. But if you get upset about somebody stealing your chair or something, or getting to a spot before you get to sit down, you don't feel that you have a good spot to sit in. You don't feel like there are enough spaces for everybody. You're in that lack mindset. So all of our fears and all of our frustrations and every single thing that we need to forgive stems from our fear of lack. It stems from our this concept that we believe that nothing is enough. I don't know, that we don't get what we need, that we're not already perfect as we are. And if you are to jump into the spiritual plane and just leave your body and experience everything outside of us, inside of us, everything that is, I should say, you would see that none of that matters, that literally none of that matters, because literally only love is real at the end of the day. And all that is required. I was having a discussion with a beautiful woman that I met at this breakthrough event I went to, and we had so much in common. And I brought my Course in Miracles book, and she was like, "Of course we do. Like, of course we're getting along so well, because I teach that. I teach that." And I was like, "This is awesome." But we got into the conversation of forgiveness, and it ultimately came down to, well, like, if there's nothing to forgive, then why do we have to forgive? What are we forgiving? And the answer ultimately was, you're forgiving your judgment of the situation. And that is so powerful. That is so powerful, because everything just comes down to our judgments. We're judging the situation by believing that if somebody takes our chair that we want to sit in, we're judging that by saying, there's not enough space, there's not enough for me, there's a lack here. That's a judgment. That is only a judgment in our head, because by that person sitting down, that can ultimately open you up to an entirely new, brilliant place to sit that you would never have. You never would have accessed if you would have just stayed comfortable and had gone to the same seat that you try to go to every single day. Like, there are so many gifts beyond everything that our judgments allow us to see, because our judgments only allow us to see this much, when there's this much. There's way even more than this much that can come to us. So whenever you find that you're frustrated and angry with somebody and forgiveness needs to take place, because it does, don't make it about the person. Make it about the lesson. Make it about the situation. And you'll have a much easier time detaching from that and not giving away your power to that person. Because that's ultimately why we don't want to forgive, because we think that that means they're going to win, you know? That takes away from us. That takes, oh my gosh, this is so cool that this is coming through right now. I'm learning as I'm speaking right now. This is very cool. Oh, I totally just interrupted that. So when you make it about the lesson, you're taking your power back, because it's never about the people. We are all just pawns. We are all just in each other's lives as means for you to learn these lessons, because it's not about the people. It's about the lessons, and the lesson ultimately is to learn to forgive and to love, to forgive and to let love in. And the way to forgive is to detach from the people and just see what you are supposed to be taking away from this. And if the lesson makes you feel bad about yourself, if the lesson you take away from being cheated on is that you're not good enough, that's the wrong lesson. If the lesson makes you feel like shit about yourself, or makes you feel heavy, makes you feel guilty, shameful, that's the wrong lesson. The lessons that you are to be learning here as a soul and a body experiencing this earth, this lifetime, is supposed to be empowering. You're only here to learn how to empower yourself and to ultimately help others empower themselves too. That's how you get out of survival mode and into thriving mode, okay? You look at the situation, you detach from the situation, you detach from the people, you make it about the lesson, and you don't make it about the person. And that is the most key advice ever. And I can't take credit for that myself. I opened a book randomly yesterday while I was with some friends. They had this book called Holographic Universe. And I just opened to a random page, and it said pretty much that exact thing, that you give your power away when you make it about the person and not the lesson. But in making it about the lesson, you completely get your power back. You're grounded. You are in control again, and you are able to learn the lessons without feeling bad about it. My hair is not a thing today. Okay, that was a lot. How was that? Did that make sense? I hope that made sense, because that was really cool. You want to learn to forgive the lesson. You want to learn to forgive the judgment of the situation. You want to learn to take people out of their roles and see them as being actors, ultimately, so that they can drive the plot of the storyline, so that they can reinforce the theme of or intentions of the storyline in your life, that everything revolves around you and everybody is a reflection of what's going on in your consciousness too. So learn to separate from taking things so personally. It's not about you, it's not about them, it's just about the lesson that you are learning. So do that, and then you will be able to forgive, and forgive in small bits. And all these small things, you, as you practice forgiving the small moments, if somebody, even cutting people off, I can't even use cutting you off in traffic because I feel like that really hits us hard, But that hits us hard for other reasons that we need to practice forgiveness for. What's a small thing? Like, I'm just thinking if like two people reach for a candy and the same candy or the same chip in a bowl, and it was the one that you wanted and somebody else like got it before you, just like, as silly as it is and how like whatever it is, just be like, oh, in your mind, oh, I forgive you. Okay, I forgive you. And you're gonna understand it as you piece those little bits together and work your way up to something much bigger and detach from those situations. You're gonna understand that when it comes to the point, if you were to be cheated on or something, or if you're working through that still, you're going to understand just intuitively. It's going to be instinctual. You're not going to have to be able to explain how to forgive. You're just going to know how to do it because you've done it so many times and you've leveled up to just do it naturally. So that is how you get out of survival mode and into thrival mode. You learn how to forgive, and then you choose to see it from a new perspective as you're changing. I mean, this will happen naturally as you detach from people and the situations and you focus on the lessons rather than the beings involved with it. Because again, they're not what matters. Like, I don't care who in your life, your mother, your father, your daughter, your son, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your cousin, some random person on the street. Like, I don't care how close or distant they are from you. They don't matter. Like, yes, everybody matters, correct. But in the lessons that you're here to learn, in the situations that happen to you, those people do not matter, okay? As you forgive and you learn to change your perspective by detaching from the situations, from the people in the situations, and just looking at them as the lessons, giving credit to the lessons, you're automatically going to start filling in this new perception. You're automatically going to start empowering yourself more. And you're going to see that there are better people in the world. You're going to open up your mind to see that because one person cheated on me, that doesn't mean everybody's going to cheat on me. That doesn't mean I'm unworthy in any way. It's just that was where that person was with the situation that we were in. I had to learn. I took away these 3 lessons, these 3 empowering lessons from this situation, and okay, I move forward. As you're dropping your guard and opening up your mind to this greater perspective, things are going to just flow. They're going to flow and they're just going to make sense, and you're not going to take things personally, and you're just going to see that was like a one-time thing. It only has to be a one-time lesson. It doesn't even have to be a lesson. Like, you don't have to go through those things. We oftentimes find ourselves in the same pattern over and over and over again because we're refusing to learn the lesson. We're refusing to look at the lesson. We're only choosing to look at the people and the resentment and the, oh God, they did this to me. Like, I have to get them back. Like, holding things against people is so useless, and you won't get that, and that's probably gonna piss you off because you're gonna be like, well, no, Jerry did this thing and he was such an asshole to me, and I just want to punch him in the face now, and like, I will never forgive that person for what they did to me, and I have 1,000 other things. Even that guy who cut me off in traffic is a huge jerk, and I could say a lot of worse things. I know that's probably what you're thinking and about all of these situations, but you're gonna think you're special in this situation. Like, nobody's special. We all have these ideas that we feel we want. We feel it's righteous. It's right for us to hold on to these, to hold anger and resentment against everybody. But it's not. Like, sure, work through it. Allow yourself to feel that so that you can process it and move beyond it. But don't hold on to it. Okay, it doesn't serve you to hold on to that stuff. Okay? You're just when you're holding on to resentment and not forgiving and not moving forward with your life, you're keeping your weapons close to you. You're keeping your shield up, and you're not going to thrive. You're never going to thrive. You're always going to be walking around with your guard up. So put down the weapons. Put down those weapons. Stop thinking that everything is out to get you. Like, see where that stuff came from, where those fears stemmed from, and forgive. But forgive at a small level, at a small unrelated level, so that you can understand what forgiveness is for you, because forgiveness is such a strange concept that I'm still learning myself. But I'm telling you that detachment from the person in the lesson is going to help you forgive and understand forgiveness. It's going to help you jump from grade 1 to grade 6 so much. Like, you will not have to go through 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade if you just understand that. Okay, you will just level up completely, and you will unlock so much freedom, okay? And even then, like, on the other side of the spectrum, if people want to resent you, and they want to be angry at you, and they want to hold things against you, that's not your problem. That is not for you to be codependent about. That is not for you to feel guilty about. It's again, not about you. You are not the lesson. You are not what they are dealing with, okay? You were involved in a situation because your soul signed up for it before you came here, because that was a lesson that they needed to learn. And if they're refusing to learn the lesson and to focus on the lesson, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. So just let things be where they are and ask for forgiveness in your heart, because when you start forgiving others, you're going to see how your role is played as well, and you're just going to naturally want to be forgiven as well, because that's all we're here to do, is just undo all of the bullshit. And forgiveness goes such a long way, and I'm so excited about this, and I'm so just completely, I don't know. If you guys have questions on this, because I feel like I was all over the place, please ask, because I want to clarify things, and that will help me even understand this even more, because some of the stuff that just came through was new to me, as you can tell how excited I am to be learning it, but it's definitely stuff I will be putting into practice myself, and it's stuff that I already have put into practice, so I can attest for it. I don't preach anything that I don't practice. So tell me, actually, I'm curious. All right, so tell me what small things that don't really bother you by any means that you can start with to practice forgiveness for. Things like two people reaching in for the same chip and the other person getting it over you. You know, stuff like that. And I promise you, like, I want your participation. I need your participation because other people need your participation. If you sit here and say, I can work on forgiving this, and this, it's going to spark ideas in somebody else, and they're also going to be naturally inclined to do it, and you're going to be more naturally inclined to do it. You know, all of this stuff can just sound nice, but unless you put it into practice, you're not going to receive the benefits from it. So what little things can you start forgiving? And if you need to share something that you want to forgive eventually, you want to understand how to forgive, share that too. You know, this is an open community. I will not let anybody crap on you for saying anything that, like, making you feel bad. This is all for you. There's absolutely zero judgment. I will let no judgment touch you. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. So I'm here as a mentor in that. So please share and strengthen your own truth, your own voice, and be free and start living in these amazing, amazing opportunities. Godspeed, baby steps. Forgiveness is such an arbitrary thing to us. Like, we don't understand how to forgive because we think that forgiveness means excusing the situation. It means not correcting. Like, we don't want to forgive because in forgiving, the person's just going to feel that it's okay that they did what they did. You know, that the wrong, the error will never be corrected. And that's so frustrating to really understand what forgiveness is and how to do it. It's completely, like, individual. It's in your own way. So you can only do that through practicing it. Don't make it about the person. Make it about the lesson. Make it about the situation. And you'll have a much easier time detaching from that and not giving away your power to that person. Because that's ultimately why we don't want to forgive, because we think that that means they're going to win.